myself, my name is Marianne Neja. I am from Lebanon, engineer in telecommunications, and I work for IP engineering solutions provider in Beirut, Cairo, and Paris. I am doing a PhD in Sophia on the digital oath. So now we wanted to resume the list of the day. We began by listing the panorama to understand what is happening. We tried to understand. We talked about Ubuntu. I am because we heard about the voices of alert. We mentioned words like responsibility, ethical principles, etc., and the importance of ethics. Then we examined with Luis the response of government and people and organizations to these technologies. We evaluated the effectiveness of these regulations and examine the risks of intense control or a total inaction, so a deregulation. Then we got to the conclusion that the technological development should be weighed first of all with the essential respect for human rights. Then we made ethical considerations on artificial intelligence. We examined the trend in recent changes, which appears to be moving toward a more human-centered strategy, anthropologically centered on complete respect for human beings. Ethical guidelines are needed, and the papers showed how much good such ethical guidelines can bring to society, to the digital divide solution, etc. Let's now consider an additional approach to establishing human-centered ethical guidelines within which technological developments can take place. Let's consider the approach where ethics and values are introduced at the design level, which is the first building block. A bottom-up approach that is the digital oath. The digital oath first was mentioned in 2019 with Dr. Fadi Chehade at a seminar, a forum entitled Humanity 4.0 in Trent, Italy. This project is inspired by the idea of the Hippocratic Oath taken by medical doctors. The digital oath first looks at engineers, software and hardware designers, to data and computer scientists, and all digital players directly involved in developing new technologies and solutions. So for these digital actors, a draft of its content has already been created that will be presented later on. On another level, content creators, such as influencers, journalists, and any writer on the internet, as well as simple digital users, that is all of us, play a role in this project. They need to support and promote the digital oath, and the digital oath team is considering drafting a version of the digital oath for them. The project wants to encourage everyone to work together for human-centered progress, where people and communities are the priority, and we don't want to leave anyone behind. So let's start with our different experts. We have connected online Dr. Ferdinando Garetto, specialized in palliative medicine and in charge of the Cottolengo Hospice in Chieri, Italy. He's also a lecturer on end-of-life issues in the Bioethics Master's course at the Theological University of Northern Italy. We'd like to understand from him the similarities between the Hippocratic Oath and the digital oath. That is why we ask him to explain to us what is the Hippocratic Oath and how it is used. What are the goals and benefits of the oath for medical doctors? Thank you, Ferdinando.
Può far ridere, ma ho problemi di connessione, per cui tolgo il video e...
Thank you. Also, it can make you laugh, but I have some problems with my connection. So I'm going to share the screen now and take away my own image. The text says my answer in red, and he says, I hope you can see the screen. Good morning, good afternoon to everyone. It's a presentation to say that I'm very happy to participate in this encounter, this meeting, because it's a topic, a theme that they're not real experts that exist, but it's fundamentally important to have this encounter checking among different professions. So I had the courage to accept the proposal, even though it's a theme it's pretty demanding in its particular nature. You asked, is the oath really useful? Thinking of the Hippocratic Oath, this talk that I'm going to give now, which I hope will be brief, or would it be enough just goodwill? I tried to move between these two threads. Before anything else, there's Hippocrates, or maybe better in the medical school of Hippocrates, the group of the 5th century before Christ. Let's say, why Hippocrates, what does he have to do with today? The thing that's striking is what was really novel about Hippocrates as a doctor is the fact that how close he is. In the texts of Hippocrates, we see a doctor who is on the side of the human being. He's next to the human being, and also in the challenge and even in death. In the texts, the writings of Hippocrates, we see detailed writing on what happens and what appears to be the defeat of the doctor, that is when the sick person dies. So this already tells you that Hippocrates is in contrast with the witch, with the charlatan, the con artist, or the one who sells false miracles. Just to let you see, of course, I'm not going to read it. This is the original text of the Hippocratic Oath, with some sentences characterize the ethical importance of the oath. I just let you see the ancient text. It's shorter than the last one. This is the latest Italian version that all Italian doctors, at least, sign. It expresses this oath as they begin the profession. I just lost the sound of Dr. Goretto.
Mi sentite? Avete sentito niente? Dove eravamo rimasti?
At what point did we get the last sentence we didn't hear? So I'll go ahead. Okay. I was saying that the ancient text, being briefer, has a bigger impact than the modern text. So perhaps I was thinking it could be something we could draw from in our thinking. When we talk about an oath, a code, a law, the 3 levels are this. So the oath brings us to the level of ethics, which is a personal choice of conscience. So when we enter into the oath, we are on this level. And then deontology is born for those who recognize themselves in the same oath, in the group, the order of the doctors. And law expresses what the society feels. The 3 levels are these. In the tradition, let's say, which is born from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, historically, there's a harmony, consonance between the oath, the code, and the law. The oath expresses a pact, for example. Let's take with euthanasia. The oath says, I won't give poison. The law, the code says, doctors don't practice euthanasia. The law says it's homicide of someone who's sensitive is prohibited. So the oath means to move in a virtuous way. I lost the sound again. In our time, it's evident it's a complexity between one ethic to many ethics. So it's easy that sentences come before the law. The laws are changed if the society feels it expresses itself in one way or another. So it adapts to the law without giving value to its own power. And practically in recent laws on euthanasia in Spain and Portugal, according to many, they have gone beyond what the society feels and they didn't listen to the oath. Therefore, the question, does the oath still have value? The code still speaks to us. It would mean, does the oath have value? No. If we think many scholars of virus on television, they violated the oath on 2 points, criticizing one another, sometimes pretty heavily, and looking for their own notoriety. This is not according to the oath. But it would say, the oath does have value? Yes, very much. Thinking of those doctors, and there were many, who accepted the challenge to work in the pandemic to the point that many gave their lives. And this is the basis, foundation of the oath. Just one of these would be enough to say that the oath still has value. I believe that this is a point to bear in mind. The oath can be valid, even if it's just for one, it has value. And then if there's many, it's better yet. So certainly, we're not inside. Just to say that we're very interested in the topic that you're talking about. For example, also in our little world of the palliative care, just looking at Uber Scholar or artificial intelligence in palliative care, we find many articles, also friends who've studied on the internet. There's a collection that makes it possible for us to rapidly identify for the more seriously ill patients, the best palliative care, or it could determine the fact that even a person could even be healed. So that it's very fundamentally important for us. So my answer, I hope that it's the last slide. The question, is the oath still useful? I would say yes, in spite of everything, in spite of betrayals of the oath. Is goodwill enough? I would say no, because the oath is stronger, because it's a commitment with one's own conscience, a moral conscience, not juridical, but it's a commitment with one's own conscience, with the group, and it's important that it be an oath in the name on behalf of shared values. So the strength of the group, even if it's a small group, but it still gives value, and it's a promise to the society, and therefore it calls into play the collaboration among researchers and those working in the field. I think that this demanding question, these are the things that came to my mind, what I've offered to you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ferdinando. It's very interesting, this idea also of the approaching Hippocrates next to the human being in his life and death. Very interesting, this moral commitment with the conscience and the group. We have a lot to do here. Now, we want to look at this oath that's already written. Let's say a proposal, written proposal by the group of the digital oath. With us, we have connected Dr. Dominic Knoll, an Austrian and currently a professor at the Faculty of Mathematics and in computer studies at this university in Cluj, in Romania. He worked in many different roles in the sector of computer, software engineering, programming. He got a doctorate in research in Russia. Besides a digital oath, he works in research in the area of human-computer interaction and ethics in computer science. Dominic will present to us what's written for engineers and computer engineers. Thank you, Marianne.
Sento anche l'inglese.
So,
Allora, dopo che abbiamo sentito...
after we heard...
Mi sento la traduzione inglese, questo non va bene.
Un momento, Dominic. Va bene, puoi cominciare.
Dopo che abbiamo sentito adesso
Dominic?
sul giuramento...
After we heard about the Hippocratic oath, it is a good basis to propose this digital oath. I will start with a concrete example that helps us. You probably got to know the issue of Volkswagen Dieselgate, that is a machine that was put on a stand of verification of emissions, and the machine adapts and will give a lower emission, gas emission. So the ethical question is there was a software programmer who included
questa distinzione.
this distinction. If the machine verifies that it is on a stand test, it will change its behavior.
Un atto etico.
There was an ethical action, knowing the impact of this action, and then for this reason the oath would be a commitment for people creating or designing digital systems, hardware or software. So the idea is to be comprehensive of all cultures, as that express themselves in different ways, from the US to China, but putting at the center, as we wrote, the fundamental values for human beings. And also considering the sustainability and the environmental impact that systems, once they were built and left to users, delivered to users, will have. So the approach we adopted is in three steps. The first step is the guardrails, non-maleficent pledge. Then guidelines, beneficial pledge, what it is convenient to do And also, as Ferdinando Garetto said, to be participant in a community, so to be aware of the things that are licit or illicit, lawful or unlawful, appropriate, non-appropriate, etc. So, as we said, the digital oath is a personal commitment, and what this draft we prepared, we have in our hands is to be considered as a work in progress. Let's begin with the first 7 commitments of not being harmful, non-maleficent pledges. First is a pledge to do no harm to individuals, peoples, communities, and to their dignity, rights, freedom of thought, freedom of expression, and privacy. Then pledge to be aware of the system being built. This for IT experts is quite uncomfortable because it is easier to focus on the parts. I'm sorry, we didn't hear. There was a technical problem on the sound. We still have problems with the sound. I can read this. Make sure its goals and intentions pose absolutely no potential danger or negative risk in any environment. But there are problems with the connection.
Se vuoi fai senza video, così forse è meglio.
So maybe switch off your camera and let's try with that if you hear me, but
Non ti sentiamo.
we cannot hear you.
Sì. Ok. Se avete possiamo continuare noi, se avete le slide.
Do you want to continue? If we project the slides, we can continue without Dominic.
Si può andare ogni momento sul sito Digital Oath,
Digital Oath.
E poi si vede tutto il contenuto anche.
And then you can see the whole content. In this way, we make an advertisement of the website, digital-oath.net. So, where were we at? Shall I read this?
È più telecom in inglese così. Allora, I pledge the first one, pledge to not harm individuals, peoples, communities, and their dignity. Rights, freedom of thought, freedom of expression, and privacy. Pledge to be aware of the system being built, make sure its goals and intentions pose absolutely no potential danger or negative risk in any environment. Donato. Pledge to design a trustworthy system coherent with my professional knowledge and my moral standards. I pledge to prevent and limit the realization of risks and unwanted outcomes by making the digital system robust, safe, secure, and resilient. And then I pledge to responsibly create and design a transparent, explainable, and accountable system. I pledge to be inclusive, just, fair, unbiased, and human-centered in creating and designing the systems, data sets, and content, and to refuse any attempts at harmful, untruthful content creation. I pledge to develop sustainable digital systems in terms of materials usage and environmental impact. Questo punto anche molto importante, il punto del sustainability.
This point is very important, this point of sustainability.
E poi guardiamo
And then let's look at the guidelines, things we can do good, because even the Hippocratic Oath is divided into two.
Do good. Questa parte, do good.
Don't harm and do good.
Efficient pledges. I pledge to create and design systems that put human beings as individuals and as communities at the center and as the superior priority. I pledge to create and design systems that promote the common good and seek equality between individuals and peoples. I pledge to create and design systems that provide solidarity among individuals and between peoples and are especially helpful to the most vulnerable and fragile. And then I pledge to create and design systems that help solve the urgent ecological challenges and encourage sustainable only digital systems. So questo è un punto di più del primo.
That's an additional point in comparison to the first.
A point forward.
And
Per chi non è
as for those who are not, don't directly work in writing codes, but have something to do with these digital systems, they can also participate and adhere to the last pledges.
That does not abide by this oath and inform the closest professional ethical entity. I pledge to ask a professional when in doubt about any system not being coherent with this oath. I pledge to keep informed about any changes to this oath and ethical standards worldwide, and this is a job for the digital oath team to keep it up to date.
E questo dovrebbe essere aggiornato.
Accountable for any breach of this oath from my side. Questo è una open question, perché come si può essere...
E questo is an open question, because how can we accountable in such a case? It is still an open question. I don't know if Dominic wanted to add something. Are you there, Dominic? Yes, I'm sorry about that. Here I am. Do you want to add something more?
Penso bene che continuiamo con il resto del panel.
I think we should continue with the rest of the panel.
Grazie, Dominic.
So thank you,
Adesso,
Dominic.
Grazie a te.
And now
adesso chiamiamo il resto
we call the rest of the Digital Oath team who are here with us. We have with us Chiara San Marco, after graduating in telecommunications engineering and defending a doctoral thesis on the Internet of Things. She began her career in the corporate world, working first as a software developer and then as a project manager. She currently works as a project and research manager at the Geodata Lab, a company that deals with the geospatial software development, and Chiara is a member of the Digital Oath team since the very beginning. And we have also with us Engineer Franco Ropelato. He's an IT consultant with extensive professional experience as an analyst, a programmer, business intelligence analyst, and database specialist. Franco is on the board of Net1 and has also been an active member of the Digital Oath team since its inception. And then we have Cesare Borin, Italian, also a degree in electronic engineering, and currently works on projects and information system management. He has collaborated in international projects for the development of communication infrastructures in isolated areas of sub-Saharan Africa. So in this world, you know, the team of the digital oath and
Parla da solo.
E vediamo se si sente la traduzione mentre parliamo, un attimo. Vediamo. No,
Ok.
ok.
Allora, appunto, noi siamo una parte delle persone che durante questi 4 anni, quasi 4 anni, dove abbiamo cominciato nel 2019 in un incontro, appunto, come si è detto prima, a Trento, dove è stata promossa, lanciata questa idea, queste parole, no? Digital Oath, giuramento digitale. E via via ci siamo incontrati, c'era il Covid, quindi abbiamo fatto tanto lavoro virtuale e abbiamo appunto, siamo arrivati a fare questa proposta che avete appena sentito. Ecco, l'ultima cosa che abbiamo fatto è partecipare su suggerimento della nostra amica Maddalena Maltese a proporre questo giuramento, questa proposta appunto alle Nazioni Unite per il Digital Compact 2024. Loro hanno nel loro sito, c'è la possibilità per tutti, per chiunque del mondo, di apportare un'idea, una proposta. Anche noi abbiamo fatto la nostra, l'abbiamo pubblicata lì, scrivendo, no? E è una proposta perché anche guardando su internet si trovano anche altre proposte. C'è un sacco di gente che in questi anni hanno lavorato, hanno pensato, no? Questo impegno etico, questo impegno personale è una cosa che appunto non siamo gli unici, no? È una cosa che da tanti anni qualcuno ha cominciato ad avere idee, spesso in varie forme, perché vabbè, ok. Quindi quello che vorremmo fare noi è suggerire una coalition, lavorare insieme per arrivare a una formulazione che sia anche condivisa, perché chiaramente noi abbiamo la nostra cultura, abbiamo i nostri bias, no? E quindi invece sarebbe importante arrivare a una cosa che sia universale, il più possibile universale. Ecco, noi più o meno questo volevo dire, no? Adesso vediamo cosa succede. Le Nazioni Unite adesso fanno il loro processo di esame e quindi il nostro punto d'arrivo è quello di arrivare a proporglielo. Poi
Sì, allora come team ci siamo detti non vogliamo rubare troppo tempo, quindi diamo giusto appunto queste notizie. L'altra notizia, come abbiamo già anticipato prima, è quella del sito, del website. Da una parte siamo anche contenti di poter diciamo, lanciare ufficialmente questo sito, che è frutto non solo del nostro lavoro, anche di quelli che ci hanno affiancato negli anni precedenti, che avevano partecipato al forum di Trento, no? Quindi un po' se vedete nel sito è stato pubblicato un articolo appunto sul passato, anche all'inizio del convegno c'è stato un breve summary che vi fa capire un po' i passi, l'analisi che è stata fatta per capire come poter proporre qualcosa di efficace. E che di sicuro c'è bisogno ancora di definire una strategy, ma in qualche modo bisogna anche partire. Allora l'idea di riuscire a comunicare in maniera efficace, effettiva, e quindi la grafica oggi, il marketing è la prima cosa, no, che ci viene in mente quando si vuole comunicare, e questo logo è l'ultimo di una serie di infinita, no? Comunque l'idea di questo uomo che è ormai diventato robot, no? In qualche modo ancora tenta di mettersi questa mano sulla coscienza, no? Di recuperare quei valori e riportarli poi in quello che fa, no? No, se vai ancora nella slide precedente, se lo scannerizzate, questo lo potete aprire immediatamente. Siamo ancora solo su un social, su LinkedIn, ma appunto è un work in progress. Due cose solo da sottolineare sul sito. Una è la registrazione, nel senso che è un modo per supportare il progetto. Non succederà nient'altro che apparirà il vostro PIN su una mappa. Appunto lì la mappa è per dare proprio questa idea della voler arrivare dell'universale, insomma, di voler vedere dove siamo, no? L'altra cosa è che è specificato anche nella parte del contenuto il fatto che come abbiamo già detto, che è un open document. Nel lavorarci ci è venuto in mente anche la metodologia utilizzata dall'IETF nell'organizzare il proprio metodo di lavoro, no? Per la definizione degli standard di internet, no? Quindi un po' continuare a seguire questa logica anche per questo, per il contenuto. Quindi c'è per adesso un form che potete utilizzare per sottomettere i vostri commenti e anche la email se volete dare a qualsiasi commento sul progetto. Quindi proprio volevamo sottolineare questa apertura, no? Di fare qualsiasi commento, no? Questo è questo. Una frase su quest'ultima slide è quella di continuare insieme, no? Di non lasciar passare troppo tempo, ma darci delle scadenze diciamo periodiche. Appunto, se vi registrate continuerete ad essere informati, ma l'idea era proprio quella di rivederci magari tra un anno, ma dopo aver fatto prima degli incontri anche via Zoom, capiremo, no? Quali sono le vie più adatte per continuare a lavorare insieme, no? Questo.
Thank you. Aspettiamo di vedere adesso tutte le facce con le foto, per la registrazione.